Guys, I think I've seen it all at this point. I know I've been making a lot of car-related videos recently, but I've got to show this to you all. The Taliban. You know, the same Taliban that the United States and other countries were fighting for over 2 decades. Well, they've developed their own supercar. That's right. Watch out, Italy. Watch out, Germany. There's a new fancy car manufacturer in town because the Taliban has thrown their hat, or should I say, they've thrown their kufi into the automotive industry. You know, it's crazy to think that back in 2021, just a couple of years ago, this country was still pretty much occupied by at least a small number of US troops. And since then, the Taliban have managed to get their country under control, at least enough, to build a concept supercar. You don't see the government of North Korea doing that, or many other recently war-torn countries doing anything like this. And it's so funny how history just seems to repeat itself, because this really reminds me of post-World War II Japan, how the country went from getting destroyed by the United States. Remember, 2 nukes were dropped on Japan, and from that, over the span of a few decades, they became a manufacturing superpower. Like, if you didn't have, and it's still true to this day, if you don't have at least some kind of Japanese electronics, you're kind of a loser, because they make the best stuff. I wonder if some really famous rapper is going to end up getting their hands on a Mada 3 and then make it internationally popular, because in today's world of social media, that's all it's going to take. If they actually make a really dope supercar and then some rapper makes it even more popular, overnight, everyone is going to want to be driving a Mada. That's the name of this car, by the way, not to be confused with a Mazda. Okay, get rid of the Z, M-A-D-A. This is a Mada 9 prototype, to be exact. In fact, let's actually just get into the design of the Mada 9 just a bit. So from what we've been told about it already, this concept car took about 5 years of time and 30 engineers from the manufacturer Entop and people collaborating from Kabul, Afghanistan's Technical Vocational Institute to design and put this car together. Now here's the disappointing part. This is supposed to be a supercar, right? And of course it looks like a supercar, but under the hood, this thing is actually rocking a 4-cylinder, 1.8 liter engine that was taken off of an old Toyota Corolla. And the engineers, they said that they kind of tuned it up a bit to make it go a little bit faster, but at the end of the day, it's an old Corolla engine that you're using. So the supercar is going to drive more like this, a super ordinary car. So you better remember that if you're driving the Mada and you get pulled over. Your car might look like it's fresh out of Gran Turismo and you can leave the police in your dust, but it accelerates like a 4-door sedan. But even though this car can't reach a speed of 200 miles per hour, it is at least a real car. Because when I first heard about the Taliban building a supercar, I immediately started thinking of those Vietnamese clay cars that Nhet TV, I'm probably butchering that name, but these Vietnamese guys that basically build these homemade Bugattis and homemade Ferraris, like this one here is supposed to be $1 million Ferrari, but they build them with, I guess, pretty much cheap materials that they have lying around or stuff that they're able to get easily. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that these cars are stupid. I mean, the end product does look really nice. Like if I fast forward kind of to the end, you know, like you can see this is starting to look like a Ferrari, or let's see, I think this is the video where it's actually finished and they drive it. Well, not quite finished, but you can see what I mean. Like it's getting there, and if you've actually watched this, I mean, this is a you know, they got 1.5 million subscribers, so I'm sure plenty of you guys have seen these cars before. They're pretty impressive, right? It's definitely something really impressive, and I guess not super expensive to do. And you could probably pull some tail with these homemade supercars, which is pretty much the point of real supercars, because supercars sure as hell aren't practical. But obviously, if you hit something with this car, it's going to be really bad, because the body is made from, like, I don't know, putty and paper mache, something like that. It's probably not street legal, but then again, I doubt that the Mada 9 is either. So here we've got some videos from Entop on their YouTube channel. This is the same company that is developing the Mada 9. And here, let's take a look at building a dream, the build process of the Taliban car. So you can see it's really made from metal. We got this guy grinding some stuff over there on the side. Several people working on it. Looks like this guy's in CAD. Probably designing some parts, because I guess they're making all original parts for it too. Or at least mostly original. Obviously they didn't build the engine themselves. Cutting out some parts. Actually, let's see if try to find the one that is I think this one is shot regularly. Yeah. So this is actually the CEO of Entop.
When you can buy it, it's not a supercar, you know, it's a mess. We build a car, not a supercar, not a mess. You can have a key of this car.
So he's like being humble, right? He's not overhyping it. He's not saying it's really a supercar. I mean, obviously they put it in their title. I'll put it in the title too, because that way you get more views on it. But you know, it's not really a supercar. It's got a V4 engine in it. And yeah, so we're definitely going to be a lot of metal lathes going on with manufacturing everything. But it's really made out of metal. There's no clay, okay? There's no paper mache, nothing like that going on. Like they're building a modern car. And my buddy was telling me that their weld jobs actually look better than a lot of weld jobs that you would actually see on modern supercars. I can't really speak to that part myself. But yeah, they're doing their welding. This is Taliban welding going on. And then yeah, these guys are chilling doing the CAD work. And you know, this part of the video, when I watched it the first time, it really stood out to me because these guys are all Afghan, right? They live under Taliban rule, and so Afghan life, it always gets portrayed as this totally different thing, right? Like they're living on another planet almost. At least that's what it seems like when you watch the news. And things are different for some people, definitely. Like women in particular, I'm sure life is very different than in the US. But these three guys that are just sitting in the shop right here, you know, joking around, that could easily be any of us. I mean, I feel like I've been pretty much in this position where I'm working on the computer and we're kind of joking around about something that we're trying to figure out and trying to just make a light mood of it because it's, you know, it's hard work, right? These guys are developing a car from scratch, or not the engine from scratch. And let's see, what is this, the lathe again? Or some other kind of machine? I mean, yeah, I don't think you see any of these in the Vietnamese guys' videos. And I'm not knocking them, okay? I don't want people to think that, but it's just, you know, this is a real car. This is a real car that's being built. Got more grinding going on. And anyone who has these machines and has the engineering experience, because I mean, this country's been at war for 2 decades, and it's not really known for manufacturing, engineering, anything like this, but yet you've got these group of guys that are building this car. I'd be interested to know how much all of this costs, like how much it really costs to just develop your own car. I actually feel like developing the engine is probably the really difficult and expensive part. Building the body almost seems like it'd be really easy compared to that. So yeah, this guy's polishing another piece of the car. Not exactly sure which piece. But it's a real car, guys. Yeah, so I think they really did tune it up a bit. Maybe they've tuned it already at this point. Because that sounds like it's got a bit more oomph. than a typical V4 engine. So yeah, you know, maybe they did tune it up a bit under the hood. So here we've got a video of them starting it up, and they actually have a woman starting it up. Look at that, guys. Taliban's being wholesome. This is probably before they tuned it. Yeah, it doesn't sound as doesn't sound as fast. Or, you know, that's the only way I could describe it. It doesn't sound as fast. Definitely not a supercar engine, but still nice. Still a real car. And there's another video that I think they just uploaded. Yeah, this one right here. The Black Swan into the White Swan. That I think really explains kind of what this car is about.
این پرنده تا قبل از کشف قاره استرالیا در تمام دنیا فقط رنگ سفیدش رو می‌دیدن و هر موقع که می‌خواستن یک مثال بد بزنن میگفتن قوی سیاه. وقتی که قاره استرالیا کشف میشه اونجا دقیقاً برعکس این صحنه رو می‌بینن که تمام این پرنده‌ها قوها سیاه هستن و حتی سفیدی توش وجود نداره. تو افغانستانی که همه فکر می‌کردن که ما فقط خیراتخوریم، پول برای اینا کمک بشردوستانه بفرستیم که اینا از گرسنگی تلف نشن، یک قوی سیاهی زده بیرون از بین این قوهای سفید که
Yeah, so there you go. Like it really seems like to me, and I mean this guy almost kind of just said it, that the manufacturing of this car, and I guess you could also say as well some of the other things that the Afghan government is involved in, it's being done to change people's image of Afghanistan. Because like I said before, most of the time when you see or hear about this country and its people in the media, it's like you're looking at another planet. Most people just think of terrorists when you say Afghanistan, but now people might think of cars. And it's funny to me how, like I said, history repeats itself, because this is very similar to what Japan did after World War II. They went into manufacturing cars, motorcycles, electronics, and it got to the point where they got so good at it that if you didn't have something that was Japanese made, like whether you're into photography or whether you're just into watching film or whatever, if it wasn't Japanese made, you didn't have the cutting edge, so you were a loser, or you were just not getting the best quality. Toyota, Sony, Nintendo, the dark cultural forces known to us mortals as anime, these are all Japanese creations that are present in almost every American home, despite Japan being the worst enemy of the United States during World War II. They did a literal terrorist attack on us via Pearl Harbor. They killed thousands of people, and that attack was actually ordered by a Japanese admiral, and it was carried out by Japanese pilots instead of just a bunch of Saudi guys that went to Afghanistan for the monkey bars training prior to 9/11. So, yeah, it doesn't seem that crazy to me that Afghanistan could win the world's love back with gadgets, cars, electronics. You know, let me get an Afghan video game console. Let me get an animated series that's created by an Afghani studio. And for good measures, let's create some kind of food too. Have Afghanistan create some kind of food that's delicious and goes worldwide, like sushi, start exporting that as well. If Afghanistan does this, I think that they will get the cultural win. And the whole world is going to forgive them for the monkey bars. We will forgive and forget the monkey bars. We'll all be riding around in our fancy Afghani cars, but in all seriousness, the Mada or Black Swan, whatever they end up calling this, it needs a better engine. That's all I think it really needs. I mean, the car looks sweet, but my O2 Mercedes could smoke that thing. I think a car that sexy needs at least a V8. You can't be looking like this without a little bit of giddy up, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you drive a fancy Afghani car? And do you think that Afghanistan is going to get the cultural win through engineering, through making some gadgets and just making them so cool that we've all got to buy them? Like and comment to hack the algorithm. Follow me on Odyssey, and have a great day.